Welcome to Podcaster Toten. My name's Red.
I'm Matt.
It's your boy Tacaroni and Cheese.
Napperzunner is back.
Today we're gonna kind of go over all the stuff that happened this week. It's been a crazy past week with all this. There was the viral campaign, then there was the little teaser trailer kind of teasing some kind of agent in the Soviet Union and in the USA. And then just today we got a whole Warzone kind of mission thing. We saw Frank Woods, Frank Woods, and then we got a full trailer reveal about for the campaign. So we're gonna kind of talk about that today. Also, kind of go into some of the tiny intel we got about zombies. There's not a lot to talk about yet, but so this is mostly campaign focused. So I guess first thing, what did you guys think of that trailer?
Oh
Like
my
what
god.
what did that inspire? Where do you think this campaign's gonna go? I suppose.
I was surprised by how I've been really wondering how they're going to take the time period in this game because, there were rumors it was going to be about the 80s. All of the tapes had, 60s, 70s, and a little bit of 80s in them. Part of me didn't think that they could really make this as much about the 80s as it seems they're going to. It seems like we're going to have that Vietnam map in 68 based on the trailer, it looks like. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised how much they seem like they're going to fit into the 80s. I thought Reagan was perfect in the trailer, I should say. I liked the general feel of the trailer. The Easter egg leading up to it was all fun. I thought it was one of their best trailers and reveals to date, personally.
My god, did it get me hyped. I starting out towards Modern Warfare I think got me down. It was really, really into Gunfight when it first came out and so on and so forth. Tack and I spent a lot of time playing that. And then both of us kind of fell off the bandwagon. I know he continued on Warzone a lot more than I did, which I completely disappeared. Started to wonder if I was losing interest in COD entirely. He and I also pow out a lot about that. Like, where are we going to go here? What could they possibly do that could be that fascinating to bring us back to that sort of level of passion? And then today happened. And of course, it was somewhat, a bit of precursor with the help of Water, KH, and Preferred Whale, who kind of dragged me into the viral, despite all of y'all's hard work on it. It was Water finally reached out and was like, "Dude, let me give you the skinny." And so he pulled me into their chat. I worked with them on that, and then all to build up to today, jumping in there with them and Tack in the event. Oh my God, I have not felt that level of exhilaration about Call of Duty in so long. That was a memory I will forever cherish. That trailer was absolutely fire. And the speculations are everywhere. I've already gotten some and eliminated some, and we'll continue more as we go through this podcast, but that should
Right.
express my feelings on that matter. What you got for us, Matt?
I think overall, I really liked the trailer. The only thing, the only complaint I really have was it was just felt a little weird with some of the characters, the recasting of the voices. But other than that, I like the setting. I thought it was neat. It begins with your, 60s music, rock, very, very much Vietnam. And then
Oh,
when they transition to the
yeah.
80s, you have your 80s song. And I don't
Yeah.
know, it just felt really cool and kind of excited where they're going with this, you know, mind altering kind of like espionage story. So I actually am really excited because um, one of the things I've grown to love the later installments of Black Ops, but when they transitioned, I know there was the Cold War missions in Black Ops 2, but I was always really disappointed. Like I wanted them to stick to like more like history. So it's nice to kind of, they're saying this is sort of the sequel to Black Ops. It kind of feels like, oh, we're going back to that. So yeah, I am excited in overall, and it's nice to be like, ooh, this is the true sort of successor.
If you think about it, just to insert one more thing before maybe Rad, you got us to wherever you want us to go next here. But like, if we go back over the last few games, what have we got? We got Modern Warfare, which is entirely fictional. We have Black Ops 4, didn't have campaign. We had World War II, which was almost like Big Red 1 rebooted. I don't know. So in a way, it's not of the historic. It's in no way of the historical depth that the Black Ops games have
Yeah.
been historically associated with. Before that, we had Infinite Warfare. That's so far from historical that it's impossible.
Right.
For all the love for Infinite Warfare, I love it, but
And
it's so,
you can go further back. I'll let you finish. But like Advanced
Yeah.
Warfare, Ghosts, just like there's so many one-off
You're
random, just where we haven't come back to this time. So that's where, in some ways, when people are like, "Why are we rehashing this?" I get it, but it's also like, no, it's literally been like 10 years since we've been here.
Yeah.
it's been
been a
10
whole
years since we had a
decade.
dedicated game, and 8 years since we had a game that even mentioned it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, and I would say that the most historically rich content that we've received in the last, excluding Black Ops 2, go ahead and give them that, in the last 8 years was World War II zombies.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, World War II.
Right.
And I guess
We had a lot of Enigma
I
and
guess
stuff, or something
zombies.
like I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Well, no, even that was like straight over. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we could speculate on that. But anyways, all that to say, yeah, history. We're back.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's exciting. Overall, like I was like, all right, you know what? I'm down. I'm down for the ride wherever we're going. And I love the sort of the action movie feel of it. Like maybe because I'm still a kid, but it was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
It was edited well, I thought.
Yeah, it's got that
Oh, yeah.
Treyarch kind of movie-inspired action movie, historical movie kind of feel they're always known for. I guess so. With this game, there's been a lot of speculation up to this point about like where this fits into timeline.
Hold on. You got to give us your thoughts of the trailer.
Oh,
Yeah,
me.
you just kind of brushed right past that,
Little
my
old
friend.
me.
Little old you.
It was incredibly exciting. I was obviously thrown off by the woods thing. I'll get that out of the way. I'm not going to harp on that because I've already done that enough on the Discord. But I mean, yeah, it was incredibly exciting to see like that. I mean, for one thing, the graphical jump, because like Black Ops 4 didn't quite impress that much, but Black Ops 3, when I first saw like the giant trailer, I was like just blown away by how good it looks. And I feel the same way about this game. Like Ronald Reagan was there, I could touch him. He's real.
Yeah, very well said.
Right, and I mean, it's going to be exciting going into the 80s, like the Cold War era of the 80s, because we only got a tiny sliver of that in Black Ops 2. It was mostly kind of overseas or like just not really involved with the Soviet Union at all.
I was gonna say it was what I remember. I didn't play much of BO2, but I remember there being an Afghanistan mission. Right? Was there much beyond that?
It was Afghanistan. There was a Nicaragua one, which
There's an Africa
kind of relates
too,
to what we're
right?
doing now. Yeah, and then Africa, Angola.
Yeah,
So
so I
yeah,
guess
that's
I don't want to
Africa.
contradict myself because obviously Black Ops 2 sort of did it, but it's nice because like I always feel like when people any type of Cold War media always just focuses like right on like Vietnam, and it's nice to get like the earlier Cold War and like the later Cold War. I feel like in some ways, at least maybe in video games,
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
aspects
there's a
are
lot that's
overlooked.
left out of the Cold War that we don't get
Yeah.
enough of in games. So it's nice. So I guess to transition, because we love timelines. Don't on this podcast we love talking about converging timelines. So
This is the closest thing that comes to work in this
I know.
in this thing. Like
I hate it, but I love it. Okay, the speculation originally was that this is a reboot, completely separate from everything. Then people were saying it's Black Ops 1 and then this, and we just ignore everything after that. Now it seems like now we're combining, maybe partially combining the Modern Warfare 2019 universe, and also Black Ops 3 and 4, or 2, 3, and 4 count.
Yeah.
There was that timeline that Treyarch released.
The first thing about the timeline is I'm just glad that World at War gets acknowledged. I'm just happy that it is there on the little
Yeah,
timeline.
I always like to
That's
see
true.
it.
You always have talked about how you feel it gets the you get the Black Ops series and people forget the World at War is the precursor to it. That's fair. You've always banged that drum.
what timeline are we referring to? Is there a timeline that I've missed?
It's
on
on
Treyarch.com.
Treyarch. Yeah, it's on the front page. Then you look on the right, and it has the icon for each game.
When I was-
interest-
Matt's like sending the link and he's like, "Yo, look at this timeline." And like I look at the link and it's like Treyarch.com. I'm like, "Yo, this is just the homepage. What are you talking about?"
you have to believe, or like there's like a cipher code you have to crack, and then you can see it. But
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting because Black Ops 2, 3, and 4 are mentioned on the timeline, and I feel like they wouldn't include them if they're trying to, you know,
So let's break that.
skirt around.
We should break that down for we. There are a lot of people who are going to understand what we're saying right now, but part of the with the leaks, the thing that we've all been debating is if Modern Warfare is going to be, follow on to Black Ops and Black Ops Cold War. The
Right.
whole idea was that Black Ops 2, 3, and 4 would be somehow cut out of that because we
It's like
just
a
did
diverging timeline. Or
right,
something.
like you just start fresh in a new timeline at the end of BO1. But so right, we at some point will mention why people thought that because of BO2 and Modern Warfare maybe conflicting or whatever. But yeah, that was the state of play before this timeline was released. That's what
Right.
people thought.
Well, okay. I guess it's important to note what is the connection to Modern Warfare so far. It's to me, it seems kind of it's all concentrated on Warzone. So you could potentially say that it's like a separate entity in itself, kind of like Blackout. But that's your prerogative, I suppose. But okay, wasn't it just like that
could.
note from?
There was someone, yeah, right? I mean, I haven't played the Modern Warfare campaign, but is it the father of one of the
Zakhaev?
characters? Yeah.
Yeah, there's some note, and it's like talks about Adler, who's a character in Cold War, and it mentions trying to hunt someone down with the initials IZ, which seems to be hinting at Imran Zakhaev. And then I mean, there's just Warzone being set in kind of the Modern Warfare series or the universe, and then it has like Frank Woods just standing there handing you a gun.
Yeah, that was a little.
That's a little
I
wonky.
guess yes, because it by that time it should be. First of all,
Well,
I
he's
don't know
an
why Woods would
archetype.
be there, but it should be old Woods. Yes, it is the archetype.
He's an archetype,
Yeah,
basically.
Oh no.
yeah. That's what I would
I
believe.
figured that was.
That's
you
why he's
commenting
fake.
on that.
That's why he's fake Woods.
I like to. It's the
John
comparison
Forrest.
for what was it? Venom Snake and Big Boss. It's just his doppelganger of Woods. But
I can see it. That's why there's
yeah, that
doppelganger
kind of.
prices.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
this is officially the moment, let us say, that we have had Price in Blackout and Woods in Warzone. Let's just put that out there. That has now happened.
But it's classic Price in Blackout, but it's fake Woods in Warzone. How does it all
Hashtag
connect?
not my Woods.
Yeah, hashtag. Oh yeah, make sure to tweet out hashtag not my woods. That's
But,
we're
alright.
trying to make that trend.
Well,
But
here's
anyway.
the weird thing, right? But it's all under the Black Ops branch now. So technically, Classic Price has now shown up in the Black Ops universe, where a totally different price exists.
Right. Well, wait. Well, where does Infinite Warfare sit in all this? Because that was a
Well,
nuke
that's
count.
in the future. Don't worry about that. Yeah, that's in the future.
That's interesting. I
Timelines,
didn't-
right?
Anyway. So let's move on to the real humdinger of the whole thing, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Hunter found a little document from CIA.gov on the CIA's interpretation of part of the history of Perseus, and in the CIA's judgment, they don't think Perseus is real. And in the campaign, the viral, the lore, we see, right, it's like never been settled, which is obviously probably technically true. And so it's Hunter and I had different reactions to reading this CIA document. It's just all fun Perseus lore. What do you think, Hunter?
Oh man. Well, the first thing. Okay, so Perseus was not real. Or they say, okay. This is the quote. But the opening of the Venona, there's their Venona cipher. The opening of the Venona decryptions in 1995, it became clear that Perseus was a Soviet-Russian intelligence disinformation operation to protect Theodore Hall, who was an actual operative, Soviet operative, known as the real Malad, which I guess is a code name for him, then still alive, but was not publicly exposed as a Soviet spy. The fake Perseus/Malad was given characteristics that did not fit Hall. There was no Perseus. So if that quote made your heart drop into your shoes, there is one bit of information that you can still cling to, that at the footer of this document, it says the views, opinions, and findings of the author expressed in this article should not be construed as asserting or implying U.S. government endorsements of its factual statements and the interpretations or representing the official positions of any component of the United States government. So there you go. You can write it all off. It's just all conjecture, but the fact that it's a well-written article that actually delves into this. So what is the meaning of the assertion that there is no Perseus? It's clearly, I mean, this is the CIA.gov that we're saying here. So even if they got to put that disclaimer there, I think that we're better.
So, right, I think that's the important first part to start on, is that the beautiful thing about Treyarch that we love is that they combine history and sci-fi and fantasy, and they're able to take the story wherever they want to take it. So the fact, like that CIA.gov, the Center of Intelligence Studies, which is kind of like one of their report systems, just because they say that they don't, this individual author doesn't think maybe they don't exist, obviously doesn't mean in real life that Perseus didn't exist, nor that Treyarch can go that direction. So that's, of course, the first thing to say. But what I love so much about it is that what's so beautiful is, okay, I don't know if you guys have ever read the book, The $1 Billion Spy. It's about a Soviet spy that we recruited in the late 70s and early 80s. And he was one of our most valuable. But anyway, one of the things when he was trying to get one of the Americans' attention, he would drop notes in his car because the diplomats had license plates, so you could tell which, who you might want to drop notes to. The Americans were so concerned that they were false flag attempts almost, just like literally giving you false information. So it was either this guy or mentioned in reference to somebody else, but also just for the story, that was a thing. And so the idea to me that the whole subject of this campaign is this guy who comes over and defects to the US and talks about how, I guess, he does active measures. He never talks about Perseus. But I'm thinking of, from Treyarch's view, this whole thing about Perseus is a disinformation campaign, which is what the whole campaign is about. Like, that's the part that I could see just being, like, it's all about Perseus and disinformation. No, Perseus was never real. That's the whole disinformation.
I mean, would that not be surprising or what? I mean, is that not Black Ops 1? The whole time you're dealing with someone who does not exist. I mean, Black Ops 1, okay, let's tie it back into the reboot topic. Is this a reboot? I mean, let's hope not. I want it to be tied, and I think it is based on what we were saying about the site. But if you were going to like make those ties after all the 10 years, away from that Black Ops 1, 10 years later, if you want to make those connections, that nostalgic feel, that mind-bending twist, I mean, what better way to introduce yet another guy another informant who does not exist? Because that's exactly what Reznov was. I mean, there's the scene when you're in the warehouse, or the office rather, and just suddenly Reznov walks through the door and he hands you a folder and he's like, deliver this to this, right. And it's not, there's nobody there, and so this would be great. And yet once again, and this is just classic Treyarch to deliver on, fictional and yet based so well around existing historical structure that you can just, it almost like it feeds that possibility of reality. I mean, to take it a zombies direction, I remember when I was first getting into zombies, and I came in after World at War, even though I more or less started on World at War in my experience. And so I was jumping into everything all at once. It was like a Nacht, Brucht, Shinonuma, Doriza. And Doriza really pulled me in because I found some video on YouTube with some guy claiming that there was this abandoned facility. Some pilots landed there, stayed overnight in a hangar that was there. It was just this fascinating, like, was this the real Doriza? How much of this is real? Like, I think this is an excellent opportunity that Treyarch has seized again to wrap a kernel of truth in a massive amount of fiction, and use a lie to its fullest and best potential.
Well, what if he is real this time?
Because right, that's what he could be, and I'll let you finish. But I do want to say, part of me thinks that because of the way that they started the trailer on how he is on how they say that it was never discovered whether or not it's true. So that tells me maybe they might take it that angle. I think I agree.
So like the thought, because initially my first thought was, okay, yeah, it's probably not real Perseus. It kind of fits the disinformation. But then knowing that there is a Black Ops connection and there's stuff with mind control and sleeper cells, thinking maybe it'll tie into that. And is Perseus, is he Mason or is he another sleeper cell? Is it maybe the player character and you have like this split personality? And the fact that like sort of how Black Ops 1 ended with alluding to the fact that Mason killed JFK. Um, but like that's sort of relegated to sort of a conspiratorial part of history, and it's so classified that you don't even have the real story. Like I'm almost wondering if they're still sort of playing with the truth and just saying that to the layman, Perseus was never discovered because Perseus was one of us all along, and it's so deep within the chain that it had to it could never get out to the light of day. So that's what I'm wondering, if that's the Black Ops angle. Maybe it'll tie Mason's story if Mason somehow is tied to Perseus or there's other sleeper cells, and so that's what I'm wondering. It's either going to be that or it's Perseus. It was never real, and this is some weird.
My God, Mason is Perseus.
Right.
Or some
Right.
sleeper cell.
I do hope those characters are more than just shoehorned in.
Because
That's what I'm
like
hoping for.
I
you look
agree.
at when you look at the like teaser and it's like the split person and you have the Soviet and the American, I just think sleeper cell, and it's like someone who's been brainwashed and maybe stuck between the two poles, and the reason why he's never found because he's been there all along. It's an American who was brainwashed, but who knows?
Oh yeah,
Who knows?
yeah, and they like wipe it from history because okay, I can see it.
So playing on the campaign angle, I want to mention as well. There's a feature in the campaign. According to I watched Exclusive Aces video based on Treyarch bringing the influencers out. There's in the campaign, we've heard rumors about there being a split ending, which I guess is going to be a thing. But also that you in the campaign you can have a split personality. You can choose personality quirks for yourself.
Really?
Make yourself a little more violent, make yourself a little more this, that, or the other that apparently
It's
will
basically
play
a
into.
Telltale game.
Yeah. Yeah, something that'll. I'm assuming you can control some of your responses, some form of that, but that part is going to be interesting as well. I think for the
Like,
campaign.
if they tie that in, oh, that's interesting. If like mechanically, like you choosing your personality traits or like what's been subtly like imprinted or something on you from brainwashing, or like
Right,
like,
I don't know.
Oh my God, that has the possibility for a lot more than just 2 outcomes to the campaign. Which,
Right.
full disclosure, I didn't realize that Black Ops 2 had more than, I think, 3 outcomes until yesterday. I think I knew there were at least 3, but there are like 12.
Yeah, there's some wild ones.
I didn't
Really?
know how many. Like, they're micro variations. Some of them.
Right, yeah, it's it's surprising how much Black Ops 2 had some like little choices that don't even really matter, but just like gives you little tidbits or whatever.
I mean,
Side
would this
note?
be?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
side note?
Nats. I'm
Maybe-
always blasting through.
My bad. Quickly, maybe that's why the timeline doesn't really get into Black Ops 3 and 4, because Black Ops 2 has those multiple endings, so there's so many different ways that it could lead into 3 and 4 that it's sort of left ambiguous that, those things happened, but no one really knows what's the canon ending.
I can see that angle. But then again, like why Black Ops 2 is mostly the same. Or like Black Ops 2 gets several entries in it as well.
Yeah,
Like
well, I
what
just meant like Black Ops 2, I guess, is like the actual cutoff point, because it's just
Oh,
weird
okay.
that 3, because like I know 3 takes place, or 4 takes place before 3, and but they're not even dated. And I know 3 is a little wonky when it takes place, but I feel like there is a rough time frame, and it's just like 2 or 3 little like nicks above 2020. Whereas like at least in Black Ops 2, it breaks it down, like it pinpoints 2025. So like it's just weird that they don't even extend it past where Black Ops 2 ends and maybe have like the timeline end at like 2030 and then they're just like post 2030. It's just weird that there's nothing for Black Ops 3 and 4. It's just like scrubbed when they take place.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
So all right, so we had the worldwide reveal today with the trailer.
mhm.
In 2 weeks, we have the multiplayer reveal. Tomorrow is a presentation at Gamescom. Um, another reveal, I suppose. But so I guess we should probably transition here to, as we tend to do sometimes in the reveals. There's not a lot on zombies, so we're spending a lot of time on like battle royale and multiplayer. But let's, what do you guys want to see in a zombies reveal? When do you think it's coming? What do you want to see with the season pass this summer? Or sorry, the season. What are you thinking?
The first thing that comes to my mind is that since this is technically they said like, oh, the direct sequel to Black Ops, it appears to be set in the same universe. It almost makes me think that the zombie storyline will be rooted in Ether, like maybe just in sort of parts of the Ether story that haven't been touched upon. But it just seems weird, kind of all the Black Ops nostalgia and rooting it in this timeline makes me think that they're gonna maybe parallel sort of the World at War Black Ops era where the zombie maps are rooted within that specific time frame, because I think they said all the Cold War weapons and stuff will be available. So it's just, I don't know. I think it might actually be a strong hint that there'll be unresolved stories in Ether.
Yeah,
Sure.
I can see that being a high possibility because, like, I mean, it's kind of how the campaign is just kind of slotting in between 1 and 2, filling in some gaps. How do we get from point A to point B? But also, I mean, yeah. But it's kind of similar to what Classified did, where it just kind of
Yeah,
slotted
but I
it
mean,
in Ultimus's journey. But a whole game kind of based on little vignettes like that, I can dig.
but like it's perfect too because you could have Broken Arrow explored, the Ascension group, before Perseus is tied to Ascension group or whatever. But then maybe like some remnant of 935 or whatever, like in Argentina. Like there's so many different things that you could do that would actually be really exciting.
And the zombies maps are free, and they're going to be dropped. They can be dropped whenever now. It's not like a
Right.
$15 for a pack.
Yeah,
So it
no
has
more
to be this
DLC
level
type
of quality. So now you can do like smaller maps, you can do bigger maps. They can just kind of release whenever they're ready, which is I think
Other
is a
thought:
good thing.
do you think
Hold
that
on.
we're going to?
Y'all are hogging up the mic, all right? We got to get Hunter in
Yeah,
here.
go,
Hunter,
go, go.
what are you thinking, homie?
Well, I just gotta do a little publicize my idiocy a little bit more because but I feel like I'm not the only idiot out there who thought they saw Rick Toffen in the trailer, and I just want to
Oh,
smash your hopes again. I know I did it already with the Perseus article from the CIA, but I'm gonna do it again. That's not Rick Toffen, and it's not a Nazi. This is not like the Nazis have returned from the dark side of the moon. We're fighting World War III now. That was a thought that passed through my head. I know it's absolutely moronic, but it did. And it wasn't until afterwards I was like, okay, well, they tack and water and then pointed out that's not a Nazi. So I looked it up, and that is actually an East German uniform, military uniform. So if you're thinking you see something European or German about that uniform, you are. It is post World War II. And Rad, I don't know if it'd be possible if you could drop an overlay on the video for that if they want to take a look at what that looks like. But you've got the red band on the Crusher cap. You've got the button style that's very the very suit style uniform that's very reminiscent of the Nazi uniform.
yeah,
So
well, that's honestly
there you
what I
go.
thought too. For a
It
second,
happens.
I was
It
like, no
happens
way.
so. Sorry, Rad.
No, I was just saying, there's no way. But yeah, go on.
It happened so fast, and when they talked, it sounded German, and like I immediately thought, oh, like Nova 6, the connection to Steiner and all them, Nazi scientists that were like I was thinking it was stuff like, and because it's all Cold War espionage, and you had the stuff about the Nazi hunters, like I wouldn't be surprised, especially the Nova 6 storyline, like if there was some holdout group, or maybe these are someone who's still working with like the Soviets or something like that. So it wasn't out of the question. And again, I think don't sell yourself short, Hunter. Like it happened so fast that I was like, wait, like I was like, a German? And that's immediately where I went to was Novus, because there's the part where I think when they're talking to Reagan and he's like, is the threat real? And you see some giant facility.
Yes,
And I'm like,
yeah.
what the hell is that? So then I think you see that after, and I'm start thinking Nova
Yeah.
6 in like, so no, you were entirely right, like to
That's
go
how it
down
happened.
that route.
We're sitting there, and I apparently missed the German part to begin with. I saw the figure, but like Hunter's he just starts going on this thing, and I'm just like,
Absolutely nerding out.
in the same thing, he's like, yeah, and then he's like, is the threat real? And he's like, what threat are we talking about here? And I'm just like, what do you mean? It's all cool. I was like, what? I was like, I thought we all knew. Like it was so funny. I missed that part with the German and then just never
I
understood.
missed that.
I missed that.
No, it is this. I was like, come on, guys, y'all know that reference.
I got you.
Yeah, it was a little bit hype, and I'm really glad to have been crushed so quickly because that I don't want to see a whole lot of more. Like I said, we're going back to history, and have it built around the truth. But I think going as far as like some sort of like alternative history Nazi thing. I mean, we've already got Man in the High Castle, and we've already got Wolfenstein, and that we don't need to go there.
Yeah, I mean that's I can't. Oh man, I think we gotta wait on Pawn Takes Pawn. The website's not been updated. All the tapes have been cleared. So part of me thought that they would do, they would keep all of the 6 tapes there, and then for the the zombies, they would add like 4 or 5 to the top of the screen effectively, and then you just max out how tall the tapes are, and that's the whole. That's everything. So I was kind of surprised to see them clear the clips, clear the tapes. But yeah, I think I'm expecting after the multiplayer reveal, maybe like
Probably
2, 3, 4 weeks.
There probably would be a zombies reveal in multiplayer as well. I'm guessing. I mean, in Warzone, right? Because I know it was leaked and suspected, but I think even I saw like an article or whatever from Forbes, and they were then reporting too that like no, it's all real now that there's a zombies in Warzone. So Pawn Takes Pawn the next phase might be leading up to a whole zombies event then.
We can only hope. I think that's what GK did, so we can only hope.
What would that imply for the the canon of zombies, to have zombies come out in
what color eyes do they have?
Oh no.
Touche, my friend. Touche.
Ended on that. I don't want to say anything else.
Yeah, you're very right. I'm with you on that. That's a whole other episode on its own.
We'll see what happens.
Where are we going, Rad?
Well, we'll kind of end it for now. Tomorrow is supposed to be some kind of premiere. We're predicting it's a multiplayer reveal. If it's something way bigger than that, or no, I'm sorry, not multiplayer, but campaign gameplay. If there's something crazy in that, we'll probably do another video. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to be much new. So,
yeah, Cold War.
We'll see you guys whenever the next big thing comes, whatever that is. Hopefully, zombies soon.
Goodbye.
Yep.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye.